And what are the main myths in psychiatry? Like this chemical imbalance causes mental illness, or drug treats these chemical imbalances?
This is one of the biggest lies in psychiatry about the chemical imbalance. When people become depressed, it is almost always because they live a depressing life. For example, there was a patient who went to a psychiatrist, and then the psychiatrist said, "Oh, I want to prescribe to you depression pills." And then the patient got angry and said, "I don't need depression pills. I need a job."
Yes.
So that was why he was sad and depressed. So it is totally wrong to say that you are depressed because you have a chemical imbalance in your brain. This turns the attention to you and not to your living conditions. The problem is yours alone because something is wrong with your brain. This is totally, utterly wrong. There has been a lot of research into this, and none of it has ever documented that you become depressed or psychotic or get a diagnosis of ADHD because there is something wrong with your brain. You have a chemical imbalance. And it is a very harmful lie because when patients think there is something wrong with their brain, and when they are sometimes told by their psychiatrist, this is like having diabetes and you need insulin, so then they won't stop with their drug. It will be difficult for them to stop because then they think everything will come back.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
so many patients go on for a lifetime on these harmful drugs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, this is one of the main topics that when you debate with psychiatrists, they bring, like these psychiatric drugs are necessary for acute episodes in psychosis, for example, or long-term treatment prevent relapses, right? So what can you tell us about that?
But these things are totally wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Psychosis pills, I don't call them antipsychotics, which is their usual name, because they don't really work for psychosis. Mm-hmm. What they do is that they knock you down so that you have difficulty doing anything. Just to read a book or live a normal life becomes difficult. So their original name was major tranquilizers. Mm-hmm. And this is really what they do. They knock you down. And they don't have any specific effect on psychosis. They work in the same way on you if you take them, or on animals. And they make it more difficult for people to ever come back to a normal life. So I know several psychiatrists who never use psychosis pills. They use psychotherapy, and psychotherapy has been shown to be effective in psychosis. And above all, what is most important if people have a psychosis is to use a lot of time to find out not the standard question, what is wrong with you, but what happened to you? This is the question. Because if you talk carefully to the patient, you might find out that the psychosis actually started with anxiety when they were teenagers and went to school. And this anxiety then developed more and more. And if you cannot cope with strong anxiety, you might end up becoming psychotic. And above all, it has been shown that people who become psychotic, they have very often been subjected to severe trauma. For example, rape or other physical abuse in the home or elsewhere. So the more traumas a patient has experienced, the greater the risk of later developing a psychosis. So sometimes you can actually cure people by working with them and finding out that 10 years ago they were raped and they never became normal after that. So if you start working with that on psychotherapy, you can actually heal some patients so that they will never become psychotic again.
Mm-hmm. And what can you tell us about the other, I think, big topic in this theme that is electroshock? Is it harmful? It isn't, because I have heard psychiatrists defend that, no, that it isn't harmful, that is effective.
In my view, electroshock should be forbidden. It should be banned. No one should get an electroshock. I just had a problem with my computer before this interview. Would you really suggest that I sent electric current through the computer and then hope that it became well? I don't think you would suggest that. And electroshock is pretty harmful. Quite many patients get their memories permanently disturbed, and some people die. There are various estimates, but it's around 1 per 1,000 who are killed by electroshock. And the effect is so poor that you repeat the electroshocks. So the record I have heard was an Afro-American who received more than 500 electroshocks. This is absolutely crazy. And when something doesn't work, this is actually a definition of insanity, that you do the same thing over and over. When you have experienced it doesn't work, then you give more of the same. This is what psychiatrists do all the time with electroshock and with their drugs. If a psychosis pill doesn't work, you increase the dose. And what does that mean? It means you increases the risk of killing your patient or causing permanent brain damage, because this is dose related. But it doesn't increase the chance of an effect. This has been shown in several studies. So all over psychiatry, people are doing the wrong things. And there is a lot of good research about electroshock, but the psychiatrists deny this completely. And they continue to say that electroshock can be life-saving. I have often asked psychiatrists, where can I see the documentation that electroshock has been life-saving? They don't have any. And once I was asked at a meeting what my opinion was of a woman who was deeply depressed, and then she got an electroshock, and then she suddenly asked for a cup of coffee. Well, I responded that I once received a man when I was on acute duty at the hospital. I could not contact him, so I needed to rule out meningitis because this is very dangerous. So I tried to insert a needle in his back in order to get some fluid out of the spinal channel to study this fluid for bacteria and protein and glucose and so on. And I couldn't get in really. So I tried the needle several times and the man was totally unconscious. And then suddenly he shouted, "Stop hurting me with this damned needle." So then I realized he did not have meningitis, really. So did I cure him with my needle? No, I didn't. but it's an anecdote that is similar to the woman who asked for a cup of coffee. You don't practice medicine based on anecdotes. You practice medicine based on science. But this is not what the psychiatrists do. They ignore the most reliable science they have.
So with all of these controversies, or maybe I have to say lies, where does it all come from? What is the role of drug industry in psychiatry?
Well, you will be surprised. There is a huge amount of money involved with cancer treatment. Newer cancer treatments, they sometimes cost millions for just one patient. The same in cardiology. Many procedures in cardiology are highly expensive. Many drugs are very expensive. So these doctors receive a lot of money from the drug industry because they buy them. They buy their opinions. They buy their loyalty. Now, you will be surprised to hear that no specialty receives more money than psychiatry. It is really incredible.
And why? Why do you think it is this way?
Of course, money rules the world, not only in America, but also in the rest of the world. And with money, you can obtain almost anything you want.
And which are the worst practices you have seen or known in the psychiatric drug industry? And why do we use drugs for treating people if they don't cure? They only attenuate the symptoms.
Well, the whole specialty is totally rotten. So there is no chance of reforming psychiatry. You can't do that because the people who are at the top in psychiatry, they see it to their own advantage to let it be as it is. And if you're a junior psychiatry in training and you don't repeat all the lies and wrong ideas that your seniors have, you won't have a good career in front of you. So they get indoctrinated. And after some years, they forgot their criticism and they become like the rest of them. So if you have a rotten house, it doesn't really help to call for people to repair the house. You need to tear it down and build a new one. This is where we are with psychiatry. The whole specialty is so totally rotten that it should be stopped.